New Zealand past, present, and future. Kia ora, everyone! Welcome to this special episode where we take a long, in-depth journey through the past, the present, and the future of one of the most unique countries on Earth, New Zealand, or as the indigenous people call it, Aotearoa. Over the next few minutes, we'll travel through centuries of history, experience the contemporary beauty and challenges of modern-day New Zealand, and then gaze into the future, where innovation, culture, climate, and community shape what's to come. Buckle up, because this is going to be a deep dive like no other. Arrival of the first settlers. The human history of New Zealand starts not with European colonization but with one of the greatest feats of ancient seafaring. Around 1200 AD, intrepid Polynesian explorers journeyed thousands of kilometers across the Pacific Ocean in massive, double-hulled canoes known as waka hurua. These voyagers were guided not by modern instruments, but by traditional navigation techniques, stellar constellations, wave patterns, ocean swells, cloud formations, and the flight paths of birds. Their destination was unknown to them at the time, but they arrived at what is now known as Aotearoa, land of the long white cloud. Upon arrival, the Polynesians gradually adapted to the cooler and more rugged terrain of New Zealand. These early settlers, the ancestors of today's Maori people, brought with them plants like kamara, sweet potato, and knowledge of fishing, hunting, and resource management. Over time, distinct iwi tribes emerged, each with its own territory, leadership structure, and traditions. Papu subtribes, and wana family units formed the core of Maori society. The establishment of pa, or fortified villages, on hilltops showed their advanced understanding of defense and community living. These villages were surrounded by wooden palisades and included storehouses, communal living spaces, and sacred sites. The early Maori created a self-sufficient lifestyle based on hunting native birds, such as the now extinct moa, fishing, and agriculture, with a deep connection to the environment. These societies were highly organized, and their systems of governance and spirituality laid the foundation for a unique indigenous civilization. Maori culture and spirituality. Maori culture was, and remains, deeply spiritual. Life was believed to be governed by invisible forces and ancestral power. The universe was divided into realms of gods, atua, ancestors, humans, and the natural world, and all were interconnected. Everything had Maori, or life essence. For example, a tree wasn't just wood, it was a living being with spiritual significance. The core social principles of Maori life included tapu, sacredness or prohibition, and mana, spiritual prestige or authority. These were not arbitrary. A chief had mana through his whakapapa, genealogy, which connected him to legendary ancestors, such as Maui or Kiuk, the first discoverers of the land. A violation of tapu could lead to serious consequences, not just socially, but spiritually. Maori traditions were passed orally through generations. This rich oral culture included puraka, legends, wakatalki, proverbs, and waiata, songs, that preserved tribal history and moral teachings. The haka, a powerful war dance, was used to challenge, intimidate, or honor others, and is still widely known today due to the global visibility of New Zealand's All Blacks rugby team. Maori also excelled in the arts, especially carving, wakero, and weaving, raranga. Intricate designs on meeting houses, waranui, told tribal stories and preserved identity. The meri, a sacred communal space, became the central location for governance, celebration, and mourning. It remains a cornerstone of Maori life even today. European exploration. New Zealand's entrance into the European consciousness came with Abel Tasman, a Dutch explorer who, in 1642, was the first European to spot the islands. His brief and hostile encounter with local Maori off the coast of what is now Golden Bay resulted in fatalities on both sides and discouraged further exploration. It wasn't until the voyages of Captain James Cook in 1769 to 1777 that real and sustained European interest began. Cook, a British naval officer and cartographer, meticulously mapped the coastline and interacted extensively with the Maori. His expeditions marked the beginning of a complicated relationship between Maori and Europeans. While there were tense and sometimes violent encounters, Cook also engaged in barter and communication, laying a diplomatic groundwork. His journals and maps made New Zealand more accessible to European traders, whalers, sealers, and eventually, missionaries. These early interactions introduced metal tools, blankets, guns, and alcohol to Maori, significantly changing their way of life. In return, Europeans gained access to local resources like flax and timber. However, the contact also brought disease, which devastated Maori populations who had no immunity to illnesses such as measles and influenza. The seeds of cultural change and eventual conflict were sown during this era. Colonization and the Treaty of Waitangi. By the early 19th century, the influx of European settlers had intensified. The British government, concerned about lawlessness and competing colonial claims, sought to establish formal control over New Zealand. This led to the creation of the Treaty of Waitangi, signed on February 6, 1840, in the Bay of Islands. The treaty was meant to serve as a legal foundation for British governance and as a promise to protect Maori rights. However, two versions of the treaty existed: the English version, which asserted the British Crown's sovereignty, and the Maori version, which suggested a more collaborative governance where Maori retained Tino Rangatiratanga, absolute chieftainship, over their lands and treasures. Many Maori chiefs signed the Maori version believing it guaranteed protection and partnership, not submission. This linguistic and conceptual disconnect became a major point of contention. As more settlers arrived and demanded land, the Crown facilitated land purchases, often through questionable means. Maori increasingly felt betrayed, particularly as land was lost and political influence diminished. What was intended to be a founding document of unity became a symbol of broken promises, and the beginning of deep mistrust that continues to echo in New Zealand's socio-political dialogue today. The New Zealand Wars. Disputes over land and sovereignty culminated in a series of bloody conflicts known as the New Zealand Wars, which spanned from 1845 to the early 1870s. These wars were fought between colonial troops and Maori tribes, many of whom had once signed the Treaty of Waitangi. The wars began in the Bay of Islands, with leaders like Hone Heek taking a stand against colonial encroachment. As tensions spread, regions such as Taranaki, Waikato, and Urura saw intense fighting. The Crown justified its military campaigns by labeling Maori resistance as rebellion, and used the wars as a pretext to confiscate vast areas of Maori land, particularly from tribes who fought back. These land confiscations devastated the Maori economy, displaced entire communities, and caused severe cultural trauma. Leaders like Te Kuti Arikarangi Te Taruki and Rewa Taito Kawaru emerged as fierce defenders of Maori autonomy, employing both guerrilla warfare and political strategy. Despite their efforts, Maori forces were ultimately overpowered by the technologically superior and numerically larger British troops. The aftermath of these wars was a cultural, economic, and demographic collapse for Maori. Many lost their ancestral lands, which were central to their identity, spiritual beliefs, and means of survival. These injustices sparked movements for redress in the 20th century, leading to the establishment of the Waitangi Tribunal in 1975, an effort to investigate breaches of the treaty and recommend reparations. But the scars of the wars are still visible, not only in historical memory but in modern challenges faced by Maori communities today. Political landscape. Modern New Zealand operates under a parliamentary democracy modeled on the Westminster system, with a unique mixed-member proportional (MMP) voting system introduced in 1996 to ensure fair representation. Throughout the 20th and 21st centuries, leaders like Michael Joseph Savage, David Lang, Helen Clark, and Jacinda Ardern have helped shape the nation's social and political values. The Treaty of Waitangi remains a foundational document, and modern efforts through the Waitangi Tribunal seek to address historical grievances and create pathways toward partnership. Cultural identity and biculturalism. New Zealand's cultural landscape has seen a powerful resurgence of Maori identity. The Maori Renaissance of the 1970s revitalized Te Reo Maori, which is now an official language taught in schools and widely used in media and government. Ceremonies, traditional greetings, and cultural symbols are increasingly integrated into public life. This commitment to biculturalism strengthens national unity while recognizing the importance of indigenous rights and traditions. Economic overview. The New Zealand economy thrives on diverse industries, with agriculture, tourism, and technology leading the way. Famous for its sheep and dairy exports, New Zealand has also become a global filming destination thanks to productions like The Lord of the Rings. The nation maintains strong trade relations with Australia, China, and the United States. However, challenges such as housing affordability, inflation, and an over-reliance on exports remain significant hurdles for policymakers. Environmental conservation. Environmental sustainability is deeply embedded in the national psyche. With vast national parks and unique biodiversity, New Zealand is a global leader in conservation. Initiatives like Predator Free 2050 aim to eradicate invasive species and restore native ecosystems. The country also invests heavily in renewable energy, with a significant portion of electricity generated from hydro, wind, and geothermal sources. Protecting iconic species such as the kiwi and kakapo remains a national priority. Social fabric in daily life. New Zealanders, often called Kiwis, enjoy a relaxed, outdoor-oriented lifestyle. The country boasts a multicultural society, enriched by Pacifica, Asian, and European communities. Its education and healthcare systems are publicly funded and generally regarded as robust. Mental health awareness has gained prominence, leading to national campaigns focused on well-being. Urban centers like Auckland contrast with rural communities, each offering unique ways of life while contributing to a cohesive national identity. Global standing. On the global stage, New Zealand punches above its weight. Known for its principled foreign policy, the country plays an active role in the United Nations and various peacekeeping missions. Its international reputation for being clean, green, and progressive enhances its soft power. New Zealand's influence in global discussions on climate, disarmament, and human rights continues to grow. Technological advancement. Looking ahead, New Zealand is poised to become a leader in technology and innovation. From AI-driven agriculture to digital classrooms and telehealth services, technology is transforming every sector. Tech startups are thriving in urban hubs, supported by government policies and venture capital. The development of smart cities, particularly in Wellington and Auckland, is reshaping urban living. Green technology and clean energy innovation are also central to future planning. Climate change adaptation. Climate change presents a pressing challenge. Rising sea levels threaten coastal towns, prompting proactive adaptation strategies, including community relocation plans and coastal defenses. The country has set ambitious renewable energy targets, aiming for carbon neutrality by 2050. Environmental policy emphasizes sustainability, with reforestation projects and the creation of marine reserves playing a vital role. Ecotourism is also on the rise, encouraging responsible travel and local engagement. Future of work and education. The nature of work in New Zealand is evolving. The gig economy and remote work have taken hold, supported by excellent digital infrastructure. Education is becoming increasingly personalized, integrating indigenous knowledge systems and global competencies. Digital classrooms ensure access for remote communities, and lifelong learning is becoming a cultural norm. These changes promise to make the workforce more adaptable and resilient. Cultural evolution. Culturally, New Zealand is entering a phase of profound transformation. Biculturalism may evolve into a more collaborative governance model, with Maori taking a greater role in leadership across sectors. The creative industries are flourishing, with New Zealand music, film, and video games gaining international recognition. Through art and storytelling, the country is exporting its unique identity to the world, strengthening its cultural and economic reach. population, immigration, and identity. New Zealand's population is projected to grow steadily, driven largely by immigration. Policies favoring skilled migrants and humanitarian efforts enhance diversity. Managing this growth while preserving cultural identity and social harmony will be a key challenge. The country's success lies in its ability to integrate newcomers into a shared national vision that honors both tradition and progress. Risks and challenges ahead. Despite a hopeful outlook, risks remain. Natural disasters, especially earthquakes and volcanic activity, continue to pose threats. Economic reliance on external markets makes New Zealand vulnerable to global downturns. Balancing urban expansion with environmental conservation will test future governments. Yet, the resilience and innovation that define this nation provide a strong foundation to face whatever comes next. So, from ancient voyagers to digital innovators, from the Mary to the Moon, New Zealand's journey is one of transformation, resilience, and harmony. As it writes the next chapter of its story, the world is watching and learning. What do you envision for New Zealand's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it inspiring. Until next time, kia kaha, stay strong, and thank you for being part of this epic journey.